The past 12 months, the situations I've been in, the amount of uncomfortability I've had to face, there's been so much experiences, life lessons. They always say, you don't actually need to learn as much as you think. You just need to be reminded of what you already know. I feel like that was me this past 12 months, being in a new job, a new environment, different situations I was putting myself in. My growth this year has been painfully uncomfortable, but in hindsight, it's been a beautiful thing to witness. I want to share with you today about 9 of these mindset shifts that I've had that have been affecting my life for the better. Mindset number 1, becoming my own person. What's easy for some, but those that maybe are like me, can be a little harder. I'm pretty independent, pretty driven, have my own thoughts, have my own ideas. When it comes to the people that I respect the most, my family, my parents, my brother, my significant other, my close friends, it felt like I was asking for permission. I didn't realize how reliant I was on advice from people. Should I take this job? Should I go do this? Should I be with this person? Eventually, I realized I was spending so much time explaining the context. Ultimately, that was a decision I needed to make for myself. I had all the context, the pros and cons. It seemed like a small shift, but I went from, hey, what should I do? To, hey, I decided this. What do you think? It made it clearer for me. How people responded was different too. They didn't feel the weight of having to make a life choice for someone else. It changed everything for me because I had never wanted to be the person that's not considerate or not understanding blind spots, making all decisions. But I think there's this other extreme that's also unhealthy, which is I need everyone to make the decisions for me because I can't make them for myself. I actually had a party with my friends, shared stories, funny times, and advice, and a couple of them that have known me for a while was like, you know the answer. You don't need to ask. I think that's honing in on this pattern that I'm constantly working on and getting better at. Number 2, I wasn't behind. I was just measuring wrong. For a long time, I felt behind. I remember I was sitting with my friend chatting it up, and she was telling her younger self would be so proud of her. She goes, what about your younger self? And I was like, man, my younger self thought I'd be a millionaire by 27, being like an MTV Cribs place by 22. I thought I would have a Hummer decked out. I thought I would be living this rapper lifestyle. I've always felt behind because I had these big dreams as a kid. My friend was like, if your younger self knew what you have to do, how hard it would be, the challenge you'd have to endure, would your younger self be proud of it? I was like, yes, without a doubt. That was so revealing to me. Like, I was holding myself to this standard, but you don't really know what it takes. When I look at my career, how I present myself at work, the investment properties, how I do deal analysis, how I care about my finances, how I have fun, how I make time for friends. Even as a kid, you don't really know how much work it takes to continue these adult friendships. My birthday was a huge blessing. It was important for me to see all the people I loved and cared about. It was, wow, you've been pouring into these friendships and they've been pouring into you for years, decades. Overall, I was just like, I'm not behind. My scoreboard just changed. What I value, my priorities have changed. I was measuring one aspect of my life against a younger version's vision without the whole context of my life. At 7 years old, I didn't know what heartbreak was. And there's so many things I didn't know. I was measuring wrong. I had to start understanding and measuring myself against my value system. We can't measure against everyone's best version. We have to see where we're at, see what we value, and do the best that we can. It's easy to feel behind. When your values change, you have to readjust your expectations, your desires. If you're not willing to do the work, then you have to adjust your desires. It was almost like I should work as hard as the person that's willing to lock themselves in their closet for 2 years and get their business going. I should be as fit as the person that goes to the gym twice a day and only thinks about macros. All of these desires were super high, but I knew there's some things I weren't willing to do and what I was willing to do and getting more in line. I'm not going to put myself in class and work on my business when one of my good friends wants to meet up for coffee. I don't really want to miss that opportunity. There's other things I'm willing to sacrifice so I can still be financially respectful. Like not spending $400 at the bar on Saturday, which I did, but that's fine because I'm only going to do it every night. And the third mindset is hard work isn't the goal anymore. Output is. For most of my life, I rewarded myself for hard work. And so unlearning this in a sense of the work alone is not the only measure. There's people that work extremely hard, and there's other people that work less and make more money. It's life. It's how it goes. I started looking at my own life, and I don't think it was until I lived it that it became believable for me. There's been times in my life that I have worked really hard and times where I've worked less hard and still made more money and still was able to add more value. I think it has to do with leverage, momentum, hard work. And I don't really believe you can work smarter until you've actually worked hard enough to know what's smart and what's not. Instead of asking, how can I do more? I started asking, what output is going to give me the best result? Because there was times where I did a lot of work on things that didn't matter. Now it's like my hard work needs to have a vehicle that's profitable, lucrative, valuable, needs to have leverage, this moment. My younger self would be like, what are you talking about? But time has a price. I used to always say time over money. And I do believe time is extremely valuable. And yet it has a price. Every decision is a trade-off. The question isn't what's the perfect decision. It's what am I willing to pay for? You can pay to get your time back. Not going grocery shopping, not cooking, not having to clean. And then I'm just like, well, if time has a price, what can I do that adds value? I want to do that. I would love spending my time on and spending my energy on. So now it's not just this fixed rule. You have valuable traits, time, money, energy. You have to look at your return on investments. Now I go ROE, return on energy, ROI, which is my money. And I do ROT, return on my time. There's different ways that I look at things now where it's not so black and white. But I think it helps you with the decisions. One I learned early in those 12 months, the biggest lesson was some things about yourself you can't learn on your own. Relationships can bring out the worst or the best in you. Being around friends with different dynamics, different viewpoints. With social media and the algorithm, you get into this echo chamber. I'm in personal development. Everyone in my timeline is talking about 10 ways to be more effective. And it's not till I got outside of that echo chamber, it made me realize that meeting people, going out and trying to learn and see different viewpoints, you can't do it on your own. Because you need someone there to be like, hey, you think that's really true? The hard work versus leverage came up because I was seeing people using leverage. I'm like, they're doing it. And it makes it more real. I would encourage people to get out of that echo chamber and stay open-minded because that's what I've been doing and it's been helpful. Number 6, being present, being in the moment. The mindset shift of not feeling guilty for living life was big. It's always this thing in my ear that's like, hey, you should be working. Hey, you should be productive. Or are you watching a movie right now? You have things to do. And that guilt took me out of the moment. Then I neither did the work or enjoyed the moment. Getting aligned in when I was willing to trade off and not trade off was important. When I go out to dinner, I'm like, this is fun. I'm in the moment. When I'm working, I'm like, okay, I'm working. I don't need to be on my phone or social media. Like, I'm in the moment. Being more present and being okay with the trade-offs. What am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? What am I willing to give up? What am I not willing to give up? I very rarely meet someone that's balanced. It's usually the successful people saying, I wish I had more fun. And it was like the unsuccessful people being like, I wish I would have been responsible. And so I had to ask myself what my trade-offs are. I don't really want to trade a moment with a friend. All my friends are distant. That might be like 8 trips a year. And so I just told myself that certain trade-offs, like, yes, I could take that money I'm going on the trip to invest in stocks or invest in real estate. But the experiences with the people I care about, I'm not willing to trade it off. If my business takes longer, it takes longer. Hopefully I can do both. It's not the easiest thing to admit, to match my desires with what I'm willing to do. I had to change my timeline for my business and be like, it may take me longer. But 10 years, I'm going to look back and have 10 years of experiences with my friends. And that's okay. I've decided to care about it all at the same time. I don't know if it's the smart choice, but I want to stay healthy. I want to stay working on my business. I want to stay connected in my social life. There's trade-offs for everything. If I go out on a Saturday, I'm not going to beat myself up for being a little hungover on Sunday. It is what it is. And so those are those trade-offs. Mindset number 8, I stopped fighting myself. I think a lot of times, especially speaking for women, because I don't know men, but we have cycles. We have different changes in our body. And I stopped fighting my body if I was feeling tired or drained or needed rest. I listened to it. If I needed activity, if I needed steps, I listened to my body more. I tried to force myself, be consistent, be disciplined, go hard. And I do think you still need discipline and consistency. I needed more awareness. And that awareness brought more discipline. I wasn't beating myself up for being lazy or having less energy. If I worked hard the night before and I didn't get to bed till 2 and I had to be up for 6 for work, the next day I was like, I also need to do it again. I was just like, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I'm probably going to be a little more lethargic, probably going to be slower in my decisions. Just listen to my body, especially with women with their estrogen and luteal phase versus follicular, and understanding the differences in sleep and diet and how our energy shifts. It doesn't make me lazy when I'm in my luteal phase and I'm tired and drained, but that's when I'm the most effective because I'm like, I want these things closed. In my follicular, I'm like, I have all these ideas and I'm energized, and that's a good time to do certain activities. Listening to my body has helped me plan my schedule. I do want to do an in-depth video for women out there that are trying to figure out how to manage their time, their calendar, because I think it's a huge thing. We aren't really taught growing up. Mindset number 9. Fear is smaller than it feels. Layla Hermosi uses it all the time, but it is, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. It took me 10 years to do a YouTube video because I was afraid. And I did it. I went, dang, this isn't even that bad. Like, how come I've not done this? I've moved to so many new places, new jobs, new projects, new people. There's so much unknown and uncertainty in my life lately that I'm constantly a little fearful of the unknown. And I just do it anyway. And it's not getting easier. I'm annoyed about it. I would think it would be easier by now, but it's not. I just got to do it anyway. I wish it was easier. I still overthink. I still have this anticipation. I still think of all these things. It's just now I'm like, hey, you're overthinking. Of course you're going to feel this way. You don't know what's going on. You like certainty. Like, it doesn't necessarily get easier. I think you just get better at coping with it. Maybe sometimes makes it feel better. I think the fear of the uncertainty and the unknown is a skill set that I wasn't good at. And with engineering, we don't like uncertainty. We're certain. I was super entrepreneurial, then I went to engineering and became less entrepreneurial. Then I'm back into the entrepreneurial space. Like, all the engineering still is kind of there. And trying to blend these two identities, I realized this year that I've just been more leaning into this uncertainty. And it's almost a skill set. How much can you lean into the uncertainty? How much can you have a vision and just lean into it? Some of my biggest wins have came from it. And it takes a lot of courage. When I look back, I'm like, worth it. That's been a big mindset shift of, hey, you're afraid, but it's probably because your body's trying to keep you safe. But go ahead and do it anyway, because you're probably going to be on the other side like, hell yeah, I'm glad I did that. I stopped forcing my life into what I thought it should look like and started living life based on what felt right for me. It's not easy. I've had to unlearn a lot, work on myself, break patterns, but overall, it's a beautiful experience because now when I'm looking at life, I'm like, yeah, I'm choosing it. I look back and I'm like, are you going to live it for yourself or what people have told you it should look like? You get one life. Who cares if the video is humiliating? Post it. Who cares if someone thinks it's a bad idea? Do it. Do what feels right because you get one life. We gotta do what makes us happy. Happy isn't always easy. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's courage. Sometimes it's growth. Sometimes it's pain. I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. Go live life intentionally.